On your left, you have
It's
Skimble
the-
Shanks. On the right, you have the Rum Tum Tugger.
Sorry, they can't see us anymore.
No, they can't.
No, I see you.
Oh, fuck.
Go on.
But yeah, I actually looked up the plot afterward because the plot does apparently exist in the original musical. It's just like easy to miss,
Yeah,
and I was 12, so
Yeah.
it's just
You
like,
read about the
it's
blob,
but
it's
it's
fine.
still like the
And it's
plot
just-
is very loose.
yeah,
and it's
it
just like,
does not
we've
matter.
put these cats together. And like, one of them's gonna go to heaven.
Like all dogs go to heaven?
Kind of,
That
but
was-
only one.
only
cat.
one cat goes to heaven.
All dogs, one cat go to heaven. The other cats go to dog hell.
So, yeah, I would be glad to watch it again. Like, I actually thought about bringing it to put it up on the television up there.
Oh man, yeah.
No, we gotta watch Predator soon. Or Commando.
But we could watch
I'll
cats.
just lurk behind here. No one can see me.
That's fine. So, we are in the finals match. Not talking too much about cats anymore.
Unless you want to.
We have our number 1 and number 2 seeds, the Brass Man, Andy Probasco, versus Jason Jaco, owner and proprietor of EternalCentral.com.
I just want to talk about cats over the entire finals.
So-
Yeah, we might as well.
So which
Which deck is most likely to play a cat?
Brass Man?
Andy's
Brass Man, yes.
by far.
He's
um,
very white.
So you have the Mana Drain versus Eternal Central for superiority of Eternal format websites.
Man, this is tough.
I mean, you have
'Cause-
sort of a history of
Oh, man, we
Eternal,
got the
like
Mana
all
Drain
of
versus Eternal Central?
all of the weightiness that comes with the Mana Drain and its long history of vintage versus Eternal Central, which has
Can you kinda keep
has-
it down?
a
No!
lot of
Well,
content.
they can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, Chuck, what?
What the heck?
So
It's
don't
like if someone
so
said, "Oh, you
don't
got a
talk
Ravens
about the
cry."
incredible
Yeah,
hand
we
that
can
Jason Jaco
just
has.
talk about cats.
Oh my god, Taylor Swift is amazing.
Well, that's true, but
Oh.
Brass Man playing Once Upon a Time.
Oh, is this actually game 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
this
made
is
it.
actually
Alright.
game one. We got there.
So they can't see us anymore.
No,
Excellent.
we're good. Yeah, so Brass Man playing Once Upon a Time, Jaco
What
sitting
did you
there.
reveal? Is that a land?
I think
I think
so.
it's a strip mine.
Looks like a strip mine. So he's gonna play Collector. Oh no, Thalia. He's gonna play Thalia.
Ooh.
Oh, Thalia with strip mine backup.
Woof.
But I mean,
Thalia is not as big as other things, and Collector Oof is
And I
probably
mean-
better overall.
and Jaco's gonna have a lot of artifact land. I see Soul Ring in his hand.
But this is going to make him have to overextend himself in
have to
order
work
to get
for
ready.
it. Yeah.
So we've talked about it before. Brassman is on a more aggressive survivalist survival. It's kind of between a dredge list and a survival list. It's he's playing bazaars but no survivals and using serum powder to help find the bazaars and set himself up with good opening hands. He kept his 7 here, which had turn 1
Yeah, that,
Once Upon a Time and 2 Thalia.
all of
And
this seems like a very solid opener.
yeah,
from
it's
Andy.
a good starter from Andy. Jaco is considering some things, but he's on a 4-color paradoxical outcome.
Jaco has a lot of decisions to make because based on what he does here, he opens himself to a ridiculous amount of different options from Brassman's deck.
Yeah, well, he doesn't.
His what?
His deck. He's from Michigan. He
Oh,
has an
okay.
accent.
Is my accent
No, I'm just-
offensive
I'm just
to the
kidding.
stream?
I'm just kidding.
No, it's great.
You're fine. I know what he was going
Opens
for.
a
and it's
ridiculous
fine.
amount of options against Brassman's eggplant.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So this is good. He's trying to get Jaco to reach into it, and he got Collector Oof and Thalia now.
Plus that strip mine.
And then he's got Strip Mine to kind of help keep things down. Like this is really aggressive. Not only aggressive but also controlling, which is great.
It seems like Jaco is gonna need a.
Land?
Miracle.
He's gonna have to use a bounce spell. Either
Yeah.
He's gonna have to get 2 lands for Echoing Truth, or he's gonna have
Soldier
to
Spirit Guide.
Get 3 mana for
chain
repeal.
of
Yeah.
chain of vapor. One of these things in order
Yeah.
to make something happen.
So he's got Caracas there to get rid of the Thalia. How's
Oh.
that?
Oh, that's pretty
It's
good.
a nice start.
I hope that's everyone upstairs yelling about the plays that are going on. They wouldn't see that
Oh,
yet.
No, they
Old
wouldn't.
school
It's
or
10
middle
seconds.
school or old
10
school?
seconds behind.
So Caracas there is good. That'll help get rid of Thalia. He'll be able to play some more things. Certainly prevents him from taking damage from it.
It does put him behind on mana tempo
Actual
whenever he
actual
uses it,
development,
though.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's basically neutral.
Another collector oof.
Collector oof.
Not letting this go.
Echoing truth still good. Repeal less good.
Yes.
That's another thing about Andy's deck is he's got some number of Elvish Spirit Guides, maybe 4, to help power out his Collector Oofs and or Thalias and whatever.
For
Like,
the volume that we've seen, I'm expecting that he's playing 4 of.
I expect he's playing 4 as well. I think they've been pretty good for him, and he's either used them or gotten them in the right times. So.
And what looks interesting, until Andy plays another land, he can't replay Thalia, so that could be really relevant here. The deck he's running does not have a whole ton of land.
Yeah.
Extra walk.
So Jaco still has only 2 mana. He has Soul Ring. He has another Mox in hand. That's a deck. He has Ancestral. I mean,
He's got good cards.
his cards are
is
good.
he casting? Is that in April?
That is
Yeah.
April, right?
All right, so he's going to have a ton of chances to hit more land.
He has
and-
Mentor in hand, which seems good for him.
Yeah,
Mm.
that is a great
that's-
avenue to
That's
win this
that's
game.
next turn. Play Mentor and follow up with a Mox, which I think he also has in hand. 'Cause I think that first card does a Mox and then Soul Ring. Well, obviously he won't be able to play the Soul Ring off the Mox, but
And Andy's deck can race that, but he's going to have to hit some cards
He's-
here.
He needs a Bazaar.
Andy needs a
Yes.
Bazaar real bad. His aggro plan is kind of slow.
Is that a Deathrite Shaman?
It's borderless. What is that? It's got a counter?
It's a Memnite.
1 second.
Hold on.
It's okay.
Oh, is it the Stone Coil Serpent?
Might be.
Is it
It might be a stone coil.
The what?
Stone Coil Serpent is a X drop that
X
has
drop,
pro colors
color-
and
pro-
yeah, Stone Coil
multicolors.
Serpent.
It's a Stone Coil Serpent.
Yeah,
All right.
Multicolor.
yeah, that's it.
That ability does not seem relevant in this matchup.
It doesn't get
It
dacked.
protects from deck.
Yeah, Jaco, I believe, is running decks. But
He's got one
Okay.
in his hand.
There we
But
go.
the Monastery Mentor is going to be good here.
Yeah.
So right now, Andy really needs to limit the damage that
Yeah.
this mentor is going to inflict, but I don't know if he can do it. He's very limited resources.
Yeah. I mean, why not push in with the Stone Coil here? I mean, I guess it just gets blocked by the Mentor, but
Yeah.
That- that lets you get other things through if it does.
I think he might be hoping that Jaco blocks the oofs.
Yeah.
Well,
block
sure.
and Pump. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's just trying to minimize the damage that Mentor is doing. So Mentor, the tokens.
So another one.
What
Right.
is that? Is that
It's
another
another Stone Coil
Okay.
Serpent.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though. Is like he's trying to minimize the damage, but he's also attacking. Like
This is
he could
true.
just attack.
I think Andy is in a losing battle right now.
I think he's not in a great shape because Jaco gets
Yeah.
tokens
Once
here
he gets the,
from forcing.
Yeah, if he picks a creature or at least a Bazaar or if a land to
Fighting over dudes. This is
Who
a
likes vintage?
a
What the hell's
1/1
going
just
on here?
got Force of Will.
Yeah. Well, it's a
Peak
1/1.
vintage.
To be fair, it's a 1/1 with like 4 abilities. Yeah.
I should give him some tokens.
It's great. They're doing great.
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring those too. Oh well. So these are big. Deck is strong. Brassman looks like
Well,
he's behind in this game.
This
and
is just looking absolutely devastating.
he's got to get a Bazaar because that's the only thing that helps him.
Yeah.
I think he's got Hollow One in
Either-
hand, and he needs to
yeah.
get stuff in play.
Yeah.
He needs to get big stuff in play. Because I don't know that he has anything to just answer a Monastery Mentor other than putting more creatures in play.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt he's playing anything like. I mean, he can't balance, right?
Right.
It's not a thing that works when you also have creatures.
Yeah, if you don't want to reset.
Well, it takes things back down to parity, but it's like
That
his creatures are worse in,
Yeah.
in the in the matchup than Jaco right now, because Jaco will just keep playing stuff.
Yeah, it seems like any scenario, not a good balance.
Right. So he, I don't think can attack here.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Is it +2 right now or no?
What's that?
The mentor.
I mean, I think the mentor is
Recast,
normal
yeah.
size, but
Okay.
I mean,
Andy is deciding whether to attack or not, and I don't. I mean,
it's not like an oversized 9x13 mentor.
Ooh.
right? Could be.
I mean, he could.
They should make those.
Well,
What happened to
jump blocks.
oversized cards anyway?
This
I
isn't
mean, I guess
just-
now they have those the big ones.
This isn't just any mentor. This is a big mentor now.
Did they make the oversized?
Well, they make the big ones that you can get at GPs and stuff. Like if you play the side events, they're yay big and
Wait,
mounted
can
on
you play
foam
those
board.
in the,
You can do whatever you want, man. You get enough of them.
Because I
you
know
can do
there's
whatever you want.
a format that plays
Oh yeah.
those oversized cards.
So Brassman hard casting a Basking Rudwalla 2-block. Save me, lizard friend. Is essentially what's going on here.
Jeez.
Still one land.
So is that?
Oh.
Is that can't be life totals on the right? Are those life totals accurate? Is Andy at 14 and Jaco's at 4?
Is that possible?
Let me
Oh.
check.
I mean, Jaco's he's been attacked before. Like he was being attacked while Mentor was getting set up. So
Yeah.
like he may have just staved off the damage.
That's a lot of damage to have taken, though.
Yeah, and he did have to block last turn. So I assume he's actually at 4.
Hmm.
Jacob's at 4.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Interesting. This is all very interesting.
Very interesting. How vintagey.
I know.
Badgering about with life totals
There's
and creatures.
creature combat, and your opponent is not at 0 or 20.
This is just.
What is this, Legacy?
Yeah. So, Jaco using deck, he's got a new Teferi, or a 3-fairy. He's got Brainstorm, which is good for him because it makes a token and pumps a Mentor at an instant.
You mean it just makes all of your spells do cool stuff in addition to what the spells do?
Exactly.
Man, that card seems okay. It should be restricted.
Brainstorm is very strong. I didn't see. Let's see. He's getting rid of. Is that Hercules? It can't be Hercules. Wouldn't he keep Hercules and Hercules himself?
It
Oh, unless he
would
can't float
seem
them out.
good.
Well, he can't float the mana, but he gets
He gets all sorts of dudes.
he gets 3 tokens and 3 mentor bumps.
Yeah, like that's probably puts him over.
I mean, it certainly buys him a ton of time.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I mean, obviously he keeps Brainstorm there. He did. Maybe that's not Hercules. Maybe I'm missing it. Is that Hercules in his graveyard? Is this Hercules?
That's what it looks like. Let me look.
Just yell it back. He's like, he's got a Hercules in his graveyard.
Tell us what he's got in his hand too. Just shout it out.
Oh,
This is tense.
the collector oofs are gone.
I
don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, where did they go?
Where did they go?
They just went home.
They are here.
Yeah,
I think they
he's-
got locked.
Beautifully altered Hercules.
Okay.
Wow, interesting.
It was not good enough. It was not good enough for him. I didn't realize that
He doesn't really like that altar, so he generally just pitches it whenever he gets it.
the altarist did a bad job.
Yeah, he's not comfortable with it.
Yeah. So, again, a lot of considerate playing from both of these players.
Consider it.
There's lots of thinking.
Plotting.
Plotting with T's.
Also D's.
Has Brassman discarded any of the cards that come back from the graveyard?
No.
No.
Don't think so.
He's not.
Still stuck on one.
Yeah, he's
So Jaco's at pretty low life right now.
at
but
4.
It's going to be tough for Brassman to try to punch through it. He has to try to hit some of these hasty dudes.
No, he needs a bazaar.
He needs
real
a
bad.
bazaar. He just needs a bazaar.
Actually, Valencia would be great for him for now.
he wants it. He's
I don't
hoping
know,
for a
I don't think
Bazaar.
he's running it.
I kind of doubt he's
Well,
running
he
it.
needs no matter what, he needs another land first.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
And
his Monk's Pearls turned back on.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he
he's-
has it. He gets there.
so he's got a block.
Cho-cho?
And does Jacob's already played the Brainstorm, and he played. Did he play Teferi?
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking.
There's some frustration.
Nobody
going on.
knows what we want to do.
it's tough. Combat is hard for vintage players in
Yeah.
general.
Brassman seems like he's probably better at it than the rest of us, but
Is that a time walk?
that's time walk.
All right.
All right.
Oh, cycle occurred.
Well,
I mean,
he got an attack in. He got rid of cards.
Draw.
All right. What do we got here?
Emrakul.
Channel.
Is that another? That has to be another oof. What is
That's
that?
Once Upon a Time.
Ah,
Hard
okay.
cast Once Upon a Time.
He's
Which is
swinging for
not
the
as
fences.
good.
right
Yeah,
now.
well, he's got to find Bazaar.
Yeah,
first.
he's got to hit
Yeah,
a Bazaar.
come on,
first.
come
I don't know
on.
what else brings him back.
He found
There
it.
we
He
go.
found it. Okay.
Found it.
So he's played 0 creatures so far this turn. So
That's correct. But he has played one spell.
if he can hit a Vengevine and has 2 creatures that he can
Yeah.
play, I think he wins right here.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
instantly.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
I
that's a
don't think
Vengevine.
Serum Powder.
Has he got it though?
And he's got to have 2 creatures to play. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The Stone Coils are 0 mana.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he really needed to hit a
Hollow one.
hollow one or the little critter.
Oh, he
Blast
just
wall.
passed the
The,
turn.
Yeah,
the
he
root
did,
ball.
yes.
Oh no, that's not good.
Well, I mean, the Vengevines are still there. I mean,
Yes,
that can
but-
still come back. But
But Jaco can
right.
Passing
Can
passing
blow
the
up here.
turn with no
Yeah.
blockers.
turning off artifact mana. Like this is going to be
Yeah.
brutal.
With Mentor.
That's paradoxical. He just drew.
Mentor still playing?
Yeah, I think he just drew paradoxical too.
If that's the case, then
Yeah, if you drew-
Jayco's
yeah, if you
like
drew- if you
Jayco's
drew-
loss
if he-
percentage here is like
If he drew paradoxical, I think
a
Brassman just
quarter
loses.
of a percent.
Yeah. Oh, that must not be.
What is that card? Is that a Snapcaster?
Overnight Whisper. That's a Whisper.
Yeah, okay.
So he's gonna
He's
lose
pump-
2. He's
pumping-
he's
yeah,
now at
he's
2
pumping
life,
Mentor.
So 2 life.
and he's gonna go ahead and
Flashback
draw a
Knight's
couple
Whispers.
cards. I mean, that would be great for.
It'd be a very
Andy for basket.
very serious move.
Pre-ripped Vampiric Tutor.
What?
It's very
If it's-
classic vintage.
Is it Knight's Whisper? Did he just pay 3 mana for it?
Is it? Unless it's.
What is going on here?
There's the other version.
Well,
Let's
sure,
see.
but he just tapped 3 mana for. Oh, is it Collective
It's-
Brutality?
Yeah. Could
That
be
could be
Collective or the other.
Well, if it's Collective Brutality, he would have tapped a red mana for it and drawn an extra card.
No, that's Collective Brutality is 2.
Oh, there you go. It's a Snapcaster, and he's Snapcaster to ACAL.
Oh.
That seems okay.
It does not look like a Snapcaster to me.
It was a Snapcaster into Ancestral.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a Snapcaster, but that's fine. I believe him.
They're very pretty altars. His cards look.
I
Really
know
good,
they're really nice. They're hard to tell sometimes on stream because they
the-
don't look like what I expect them to look like
Yeah.
because the border colors are different.
Yeah, they're not.
Which I also have the same gripe about the borderless frames, but here we go.
Don't get too salty on here.
Can't.
Is that why I wasn't on stream? Because, oops.
You're beautiful, Randall. That's why we put you on stream.
Woof.
Is that a?
Paradoxical.
That is a PO. This is gonna be tough to recover from for
I-
Andy.
don't see how he
1,
could
2, 3, 4,
possibly can.
5.
Like this is just dead.
Yeah.
There's
Unless
and he has a Snapcaster in play, which means that he's going to be
Unless-
able to immediately
Yeah.
recast the snap or the
Yeah.
paradoxical.
unless Andy
Yeah,
has
that's it. That was it.
Yeah, so that's
ESG
good.
fog.
Yeah, right.
And so Andy was in that game up until the last turn.
Yeah.
He needed to hit
Yeah.
two creatures in order to get that
Yeah,
Vengevine into play.
Right. Well, I mean,
At least
it would have been great for him to see a Bazaar 10 turns earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no doubt for sure.
So he battled hard on the one lane. So
Sim's bad beats.
if he only had a dread return. Oh wait. Oop! Someone dropped a dice. Upstairs.
So, still in the finals of the Hazard Serious Invitational, hosted by Team Serious, in the basement of a house in Columbus. On your left, you have the Brassman playing a very aggressive version of
Survival? Question mark?
Survival without survivals. And on your right, you have Jason Jaco
I just call it
playing
Dredgeless
Paradoxical
Dredge.
Outcome. Yeah, Dredgeless Dredge, Survivalist Survival, whatever you want to call it. It's somewhere in between those. It's an interesting deck. We were speculating that it probably has a pretty decent matchup against Paradoxical, and he was sort of in that game for a long time based on the Thalias
He had a lot of good
and
stuff.
collector oofs that he had.
If he
And he-
cast the Thalia and hit another lane.
Yeah.
And he was racing Mentor, which is one of the most
Right.
absurd cards in
If he hit
Vintage.
the turn one Thalia was strong. If
Yeah.
he followed up with a Bazaar, he would have been in.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, if there was a Bazaar earlier in that game, Brassman I think would have won pretty easily. Jaco had a lot of good cards and pulled out of it. The mentor being where it was very fortunate for him because basically it just allowed him to stay in the game at all.
It was a ridiculous amount of leverage.
Right.
He was able to switch his position in the game absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll see what sort of changes that Brassman is going to make to his deck because right now his main deck is already very solid against PO.
I would imagine he has a few cards that he can bring in, but I don't know what he has to take out.
Manatite.
Like he can take out more aggressive creatures, but slowing
Yes.
down against PO is not necessarily the right idea if you can put a roadblock in front of him anyway. Because he can win out of nowhere.
Absolutely,
If he puts a roadblock in front of them and then puts 14 power on the board, like that's a good game.
we already saw.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but definitely he's going to be bringing in his the green pitch card, right?
Yeah, Fossa Vega.
Yeah, Fossa Vega.
Fossa Vega.
Because we already saw against
Yeah.
Steve how
Bring
powerful
more
that is
chowder.
against PO.
Right, and it's not only powerful, but it's also kind of demeaning. Where it's like, well, because like, oh, you're expecting to draw some cards here, and it's like, oh, I'm now drawing fewer cards, and I feel bad about that.
Yes, it could definitely win the morale
Yeah,
battle in this fight.
right. And
Absolutely.
And I definitely
in-
think that
You have to
morale
break your
matters.
I
opponent's
think
spirit
in vintage, if you can break your opponent's spirit, that
break
is
Is
that is a
Claude still in the bathroom?
No, I think it just turned off.
some.
We lost
It's,
some of the light.
the light is very close to the door.
Well,
so-
we are darker now. Unless
So,
someone turned
but
off
I'm
the
not
light
sure
in
what
the-
he pulls out of his deck. Like, do you pull out
Well, that's-
engine cards
Yeah,
in
that's
order
what I'm
to
saying.
do it?
Well, you can't. I mean, like, there's because all of his engine cards are necessary. Like, you can't take out serum powders in that deck because you need to find a Bazaar.
Yes,
like you need to set up, and you
absolutely.
need to set up in your opening hand where it's like, well, I have Collector Oof, or I have Thalia, and I have a way to play it, or whatever.
Probably could cut one veg card.
Yeah, I think you're
Maybe. I think-
you're making edge cuts where it's
Yes.
like,
Yeah, it's.
what do you do?
It's like,
and it's kind of a how you feel
is
about
it
it.
worth bringing
And-
in?
and what-
do I cut this?
But what do you think? What do you think Jacob's bringing in? Like, what do you bring in against survival? Like, do you bring in your graveyard hate as a PO? Do you have graveyard hate as PO?
Cages.
You might have some cages might work, but that shuts off your tinker. I don't know if you care about that. You can
No,
tinker out your cage,
It's-
right?
Yeah, you just swipe out Tinker
But
and your
yeah, I don't know.
4 cages.
I think you definitely. I mean, if you have graveyard hate, you bring it in. But I don't know if PO does. Like, I don't know if PO braces dredge or not.
Yeah,
Cages or crits.
I would assume you would have something because like you'd have something you could bounce with.
Or
Paradox.
Lantern.
Yes,
Or
yes.
that new Lantern.
Yeah, Lantern is the new one. I mean, Tormod's Crypt is also good. It's
And yeah,
Free.
those would be fantastic in this matchup.
but I mean, we were talking with David Lance earlier, who's a long experienced survival player, and he was saying like there's really just not that much that Graveyard Hate does. Because Brassman is really winning these games on like Collector Roof and Thalia.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like, he's going to play Collector Roof and Thalia, and he's going to try and get a Hollow One into play, and that's how he's going to win. And none of that is effective.
yeah,
by Graveyard.
he is the beatdown in
Right.
this match, 100%.
Right, and I'm saying like none of those are affected by Graveyard.
But for me, like
Yes,
like,
well-
for me, like round 1 goes Dredge, game 2, I Time Twister into Time Spiral.
Yeah.
Twister. All right, go. Which of us stuck cards? Right?
Which-
Take
Which-
one.
Which is interesting. Which is interesting. I assume that Jaco has Time Twister in this deck.
Yeah, I would think you would have that in there. But again, that's not a.
Like,
That seems
It
not
seems
great.
just fine for Andy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a plus.
I mean, actually, things that he could bring in would be something like Lavinia or
Oh, Lavinia would, yes, be very powerful. And a lot of PO decks are running that.
Right.
Because it's not symmetrical, right?
right.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Come in.
You're not on screen. You can come in. I mean, you can come in anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody
I
cares.
Well, they
There you're hiding.
turned down the yeah. I've been down here. They turned off.
All right, so is that that's a turn one,
A land.
just a land pass.
A turn 1 land and a turn 1 land.
I still don't know what land that is.
That is a mana confluence. Expedition.
It is?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
I played against him 2 rounds today.
Okay.
Very familiar with it.
Black Lotus.
That is not good
That's
for Andy
real bad for
Carrasco.
Andy. I know.
It doesn't draw cards for PO, but is that a mentor? No,
No,
that's
a
a
fairy.
Dak Fate.
Teferi.
Ah, I see.
So Lotus there was for white.
Yeah, so
He's got two white or a white floating.
white floating.
So Teferi's going to keep Brassman from being able to play spells, except for when they would be sorceries, which isn't going to bother him that
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
But it's going to be really
It's also a
annoying
bounce spell.
because
Yeah.
he is going to be able to bounce whatever creature that he
Yeah,
plays that interferes with his
Yep,
game plan.
yep.
And that's another piece of power. What is that?
That's Jet. Mox Jet.
Yes.
City of Brass.
So
Once upon a time.
that
And it's
is
his
the
first spell of the game.
That is the first spell that he's
He's
cast.
right. He's right.
It works.
He's right. I'm surprised he played the city before that.
He must have just drawn it and be
Unless he's-
counting on a creature that he wants to play.
Well, but his other option would be Bizarre. Right?
Bizarre.
Right. But I assume that right now he's counting on playing a creature, but
Yeah.
it's going to be foiled by Teferi. So
Right. Well, I'm
Well,
yes, I agree with you.
getting a -3 on Teferi
If
is a
it-
start.
It's very strong.
But if
Yeah.
he draws Thalia,
And it's a bizarre.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm
So-
saying. It's like
if he draws
that
So-
seems weird to me.
Thalia
Yeah,
plays
because
it,
the
it's
bizarre
he
here
must
instead
have a
of
creature in his hand that he's going to play for 2 mana.
Right. And he's got to
or
work on.
he
Teferi a
just
little bit.
bonked.
I mean, he may have said that too.
No, here we go.
But I think
So he's going to take 2 damage here. He's going to go to 18.
he has a Thalia.
And then he's going to pass the turn. It's a bold move.
Is that
Oof.
a thorn?
no, it's
Oof.
Oof. Okay.
So he's got it. He's got Collector Roof. I assume Teferi's just going to bounce it, but that's something.
But that is going to eat away at those
Yeah.
resources.
Right. Well, and this
Yeah.
is something where he can play the Bizarre next turn, dump some stuff in his graveyard, play Oof
Oof
again.
again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And-
also,
and
if he plays
potentially
Oof again, that's one step
And get
closer to
Vengefine.
Vengefine.
Right. Yeah. That's
So this isn't too bad. Andy's in a decent spot.
Well, it's like unless Jacob wins here.
yeah. I mean, this is the scary thing about playing against PO
Right.
is that whenever they can bounce your hate against them, you're just in a butt clenching spot where do they have it?
That's my life every day.
The butt clenching.
Yeah.
Invalids.
Sometimes you gotta really try hard
That's-
not to fart.
That's why you use those exercise balls.
It's
Oh,
The
okay.
yoga
Oh,
balls
the
help with
kegels.
that.
Mm.
it's rough
Dak.
playing against PO. Like sometimes they just rip a bunch of
Oh,
mana
is that Tinker?
acceleration and they
It's
have
Tinker.
a PO.
That's Tinker.
That is
That's
going to
very
be
bad.
very challenging for Brassman to deal with.
At least Jaco made him a nice cocktail.
And he just flipped that out there.
It,
Oh,
that's